Well, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I am excited to just get to know a little bit about your guys' hearts for Proven Men. Excited to ask you some questions for us to dialogue a little bit. I think first and foremost, what we're the most excited about is giving a snapshot to our network, to the people that are passionate about our ministry, a snapshot into why you guys believe in Proven Men, why you guys believe in Proven Men so much that you support Proven Men monthly. What is the reasons behind that? And so we're just going to ask some questions and have some really cool family talk. Yeah. So go ahead and just introduce yourselves to me and just give us a 30-second snapshot of context.
Well, I'll begin. So my name is Alden. My wife Jenny here. She'll introduce herself in a moment. My background is I'm from Arizona. I moved to Lynchburg to play hockey for Liberty. God had other plans, injuries, all sorts of good stuff. Got about neck deep in the climbing community out here and thrived on that for a long time. Then met her, effectively dropped out of school, and now I work for full time for Liberty. Luckily, I had another bachelor's already, so that helped the situation out. But I've dealt with, I think like any man, but specifically for myself, I've dealt with sexual impurity issues my entire life. So coming into an environment where Proven Men was talked about through the friend circles that I became associated with was just a really neat opportunity, and really neat how God kind of used the community I had found to then bring me to a peace that I would find later.
Absolutely. No, that's so cool. I remember meeting you for the first time and
you climbing one of my problems at the wall.
Climbing with you, and it was really cool to see how Proven Men's culture was in the community around you and how God literally used that. And how it's just been such a great journey. We've become friends, and it's such an honor to have you as a brother now, a fellow Proven Man. So Jenny, how about you introduce yourself to us a little bit as well?
Yeah, my name is Jenny Armstrong. Been married to Alden for about a year and a half. I grew up in California, went to Biola University, graduated, and moved to Arizona, which is where I met Alden. And we did long distance for about a year, and then I said enough of that, and I moved out here. So we've lived here for almost 2 years, and I'm currently attending Liberty, pursuing a nursing degree.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's so cool to hear some of your origin story as well, and you guys now being married, and it's just so exciting to see you guys thriving and doing cool things.
God has a sense of humor through the whole thing.
He really does.
Like the goals and aspirations we each had right out of college didn't exactly happen the way that we had expected, but this did, and it's so much better.
Yeah,
so
right.
It's
always
definitely
nice
an awesome.
When he shows up instead of what we thought we wanted.
It's an awesome journey.
Well, that's awesome. Well, guys, let's dive in a little bit more to what some of your thoughts are around Proven Men. And we'll share a little bit with the audience about why, right? Like, it's not a small thing that you give monthly. Like, in our world today, that's not a small thing. We live in a world where, there is malevolence, there is evil, there is pain, there is brokenness. And you guys are a passionate couple about speaking into that, about investing into life transformation. So we're just going to kind of dive right in. Why do you invest in life transformation through Proven Men?
I think for me personally, it's partially because of the background that I've had with sexual integrity. I grew up in the church. I grew up in a home where I was loved very well, I think, by my parents, but things of this nature were never really talked about. And I think that's kind of the theme of most people's backgrounds, even if they're Christian, is pornography, sexual temptation, sexual addiction. It's not addressed because it's a dirty thing. Mm-hmm. And unlike other sexual sins, it's something when you do confess it, people kind of shy away from you. Whereas if you were to confess that you're a habitual liar, people want to surround you and support you in that way. I don't know. So my own background as to why I support Proven Men is I was introduced to pornography at a young age, at the age of 12, and I struggled with it all the way up until I was in my 20s. And there are different times in that journey where I was doing great, I was doing not so great, not so great. And that's just the way that pornography gets you, because every time you fall and you mess up, especially if you are a Christian, there's almost always that immediate conviction. You're like, oh God, I'll never do that again. And you feel horrible. And then you do it again anyway. Mm-hmm. And the problem is that entire time when I was struggling with this, I was trying to put nails in a coffin that I didn't have a hammer to. And I didn't control that at all. Like that. So when I came to my first semester of college at Northern Arizona University, before I transferred, there were some people I met there, like Holly and a couple other people, who just surrounded me and supported me in a really relational aspect that I had never really experienced before. Mm-hmm. And that was the kind of first couple of times I was able to open up about my struggle through this. And, I found out every single person I talked to, male or female, had the same issue. Mm-hmm. And then it's just like, oh my gosh, this is a huge thing that nobody talks about. So long story short, came to Liberty, found out a little bit about Proven Men. I was having a really rough night with temptation, and I saw Marshall Shank. We're friends on Facebook, and he posted a link. I didn't even know he was working for Proven Men at the time because he had just gotten the job. And I looked at the link, and there's a little button in the corner that says, I need help. And God just like, you need help. And so I clicked on the link, and then he texted me a very, very short amount of time later. And we set it up and went through the program together. So that is my story as to how I got introduced to Proven Men. Since the time I've been through it, I've been through the study now 3 times because I've taken other people through it. That's amazing. And it's something for me that allows me to empower and support other men through this journey, men and women, through the journey of creating for yourself a space of sexual integrity that God can then stand firm in the middle of. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't give God space, he's not going to be there. Yeah, totally. He'll be available, but unless you invite him in to that space and talk about it in an open community aspect, it's very difficult to get out yourself. Mm-hmm. All that to say, I support Proven Men because I believe in its message. I believe in the community aspect because Proven Men is standing for something that is not talked about in the church. And I think more and more people are picking it up. And I think there is a revitalization in that way across different church communities that people are talking about it, but it's still not anywhere near where it needs to be. Yeah. By supporting Proven Men on a monthly basis, by giving up our own dollars that we earn, we remind ourselves of the passion that God had for us, pursued us. So we're passionately trying to pursue other people through our giving, through our leadership in the program. And I'll let Jenny touch on, but she also was kind of a feedback person for the Proven Women study that's out now as well. So that in a nutshell is why we do it. That's amazing. And we want to support this ministry through thick and thin, whatever we can do, because we see God moving and the healing we've seen in our lives, as well as our lives of our community and our friends and people who are in Arizona that I've shared this with. It's just, it's a really cool opportunity to be a part of that.
It's amazing to see the trickle effect that being proactive and passionate about sexual integrity can have in your community. I love how you're touching on it, how it's even, across the U.S., back in your hometown, reaching out, because you've reached out and you become this beacon of hope and this beacon of light in what has been such a hidden, shameful, secret thing for so long. And so we are super honored that you guys see it that way, that you believe in it that way. It means a lot, and I believe the people that are watching this now will equally understand and see that this issue, sexual integrity as a whole, Proven Men is working to not only begin talking and having these conversations, but then equally stepping into people's lives where they are. And you guys allow us to do that, and that's not a small thing. Jenny, give me a little snapshot, just as Alden did, about why you guys are willing to sacrifice your hard-earned money for this mission, for this ministry.
Yeah. So I haven't been as intimately connected with Proven Men as he has. I haven't been through it 3 times, but I have definitely seen its positive effects in our own marriage and in him as a person. I know when we were engaged and dealing with long distance, of course, there's a big struggle to remain pure through that. And I think Proven Men provided guidance for how to get through that. And it sparked conversations in our marriage that I don't know that we would have had otherwise. Conversations that laid the groundwork for how we want our relationship to be and for how we want our marriage to be, and having a pure thought life beforehand. And I think that this issue of sexual integrity is, like you said, very hush-hush for men, and especially for women too, like both, but people kind of see it as like a man's issue, and there's a shock when we realize women struggle with it too. Like I myself, when I was a young teen, struggled with pornography. And I think a ministry like this is really breaking the chain that Satan holds over sexuality and over purity. If you think about it, marriage is supposed to be a reflection of our relationship with Christ, the relationship between him and his bride. And Satan is, of course, he would seek to sabotage that at the very heart of what it means to be a Christian. Right? And so what is more important than that, you know? So I think Proven Men is vitally important for the life of the church and for Christians to have healthy marriages. I think that sexual integrity is something that needs to be talked about, and not just for men, just for women too. I think it should be an open dialogue. And I love that Proven Men, like you said, it doesn't just put the conversation out on the table and just be like, okay, deal with your issues now. It actually guides you through it and shows you how to have healing and how to have a healthy marriage and how to walk in purity. And so we fully believe in the mission and the message of Proven Men, and we are happy to give of our finances because I believe we're sowing into something that's very important and something that will benefit marriages and future generations to come. Breaking generational sin, breaking the bonds and the chains that Satan has over families. That's a very powerful thing, and we want to be a part of that. And we want to enable other people to experience the same healing and the same freedom that we have. And so I would encourage, anyone who's been benefited from Proven Men or has been impacted by it to give. I think that the Lord will richly bless that giving, and it's a joy to do. So, yeah.
There's been times in our marriage when one or the other of us has been convicted to some way to give more to a ministry, and the most recent conversation was Proven Men. And we're like, I really feel like there's a need here that we're able to meet. And because we're still young in our marriage, I think we go into it thinking like, I hope the other one agrees. This is about finances. Usually this is it's a topic that we have to have a good discussion about. And every single time we bring it up, she's like, yeah, that's fine. Let's do that. That sounds awesome.
There's
in both directions.
And
there's no question about it to us that, tithing is 100% important. It's a biblical principle. You have to do it. 10% to the church. And giving is you give to where you're being fed. And I was fed through your ministry. And Jenny was fed through this ministry. And this is something that we are passionate about and we believe in. And in order to share that experience with other people, you have to come on a talk show and talk about it, or you have to go out and talk to people about it, because it's not something that's going to come up in conversation because nobody wants to talk about it. So, we're on board with whatever, and we want to be a beacon. We want to be a light, like you said. So people in a random conversation can come up and ask me like, hey, I saw that interview you did. Is that true? Because I've had that before. Like, hey, I saw you go to that Proven Men group. Are you doing okay? Like, yeah. Are you? No. Like, it's crazy what God does and makes connections in that way. So we're all for it. Next question.
That's amazing. And I think I want to just touch on that because you both highlighted on a very unique feature, and it's that you want to feed others as you have been fed. You want to, and what is it that you're feeding them? You're breathing into marriages new life through the gospel. You're breathing into a young single man in college's life, the future of his marriage. Jenny, you mentioned it. You guys are literally investing in generations. You're investing in generations of the church and generations of families and generations of fathers and sons and mothers and daughters. And I just think it's worth noting that you could and have every right and may in the future be actually tangibly feeding people that need food as well. But it is encouraging for you guys to acknowledge that there is a hunger in our culture that you are sacrificially stepping into and providing the ability for this ministry to feed those that are hungry in that way. And I think sometimes people that see proven men or proven women and see the things that we do, I think sometimes because this issue is so in the dark and because it's a little bit shame covered, that people don't see it that way. And so I'm encouraged by your guys' generosity. I'm encouraged by your spirit of pressing into others. It's something I want to continue to honor and be thankful for from a very humble place. And it's nothing that we ever take lightly. From our ministry to you guys, I want you to know that we strive at 100% with the utmost of excellence to honor every dollar and dime that you guys give. And what keeps me up at night is that. And what I want to continue doing is stewarding and investing and directing those resources as God would have us. And so I'm super grateful that you guys were willing to come and share from your hearts about why you sacrifice, about why you give, about why you believe in this ministry. And I believe it will inspire people that are watching this. And for those that are watching this, I want to equally provide a challenge and an opportunity for you to pray about a similar passion that may be within your heart. As Jenny and Alden have shared transparently, maybe the Lord is calling you equally to join us on the front lines of this cultural conversation and this cultural shift and this revitalization of sexual integrity that we will together usher in our communities. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for being willing to do this. We are for you always and forever, and we're grateful that you're with us as well.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Nick.
Totally.